It's time for This Week in Nerd News,
Episode 8.
for April 27th through May 3rd, 2013. This Week in Nerd Movie News.
Iron Man 3 is hitting theaters in the US this weekend, but it has actually been out for a few weeks overseas, in over 42 countries, and is doing crazy good business there. Record-setting openings in Argentina, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Vietnam, Taiwan, the Philippines, Malaysia, and Singapore have helped it earn $195 million in its opening weekend. It's currently beating the second highest grossing film of all time, The Avengers, which only took in $185 million in its opening weekend. In some interesting casting news, Michael Bay's Transformers 4 has added Kelsey Grammer as a human villain.
So wait, Kelsey Grammer is the new McDreamy? Awesome!
Grammer, who hasn't been in film since 2011, will be playing Harold Attinger, a quote, counterintelligence guy, though no plot details have been released, so we don't know how he will fit into the film.
Plot, of course, being the thing that everyone is most interested in when they watch a Michael Bay Transformers movie. Current Superman star Henry Cavill has gone on record saying that he would like to succeed Daniel Craig in the role of James Bond. Cavill was at one point considered the frontrunner to replace Pierce Brosnan as 007, and stated, "If I'm in the running again, if people don't just see me as Superman, and they could see me as Bond, then yeah, I'd love to do it." Playing Superman and James Bond? Sheesh, Henry, you gonna leave any of the multi-million-dollar super mega franchises for anyone else to play with? This week in nerd video game-based movie news, according to Variety, Scott Stuber, producer of the films Ted and Battleship, has joined the Gears of War movie adaptation. The project was long considered dead after a Len Wiseman-helmed version fell apart at New Line. While this version has no cast, script, or distributor lined up at the moment, Stuber does have a pre-existing deal with Universal, so that's probably where he and Epic Games will end up taking the project first. We'll have to wait and see if we can consider this project actually alive again, since I doubt CGI has gotten good enough to replicate those disgusting Balloon Man protagonists of the actual game series.
This week in nerd gaming news, the next game from the creators of the Call of Duty franchise, codenamed Project Titan, will be a Microsoft exclusive title and will be appearing on both the 360 and the next Xbox game system. The game will apparently be a futuristic, multiplayer-centric online shooter. Now, being a Microsoft exclusive could be a big deal, but since the PlayStation 4 is getting the similar-sounding Bungie title Destiny at or near launch, it still remains to be seen if this could be the Durango's first, for real, actual, not at all pointless bullshit for realsies killer gaming app.
Kevin Conroy, also known as the voice of Batman, will not be appearing in the next Arkham Asylum universe game, Batman Arkham Origins. Instead, the game's developers at WB Montreal want to use a new, younger actor because the game features Batman in his early years. Now, being that this is a prequel and all, I get that, I do. But seriously, after losing Mark Hamill as the Joker, and now Kevin Conroy as Batman, you guys are really skating on the thin ice of nerd video game cred here, Batman game makers.
Madden NFL 2013 is not going to be making its way to the Wii U. EA has said that it will evaluate opportunities for delivering additional Madden NFL products to Nintendo's newest console in the future. Good thing Nintendo can sell plenty of Wii U's on its first-party titles alone. Too bad most consumers don't seem to know that the Wii U is actually different from the Wii.
This week, law firm Edelson LLC is bringing a hard case against Sega and Gearbox, claiming they have falsely advertised their recent Aliens Colonial Marines game. The firm's representative, Ben Thomason, said, "We think the video game industry is no different than any other that deals with consumers. If companies like Sega and Gearbox promise their customers one thing but deliver something else, then they should be held accountable for that decision." As of Thursday, Sega and Gearbox have responded to this, Sega claiming that the lawsuit is, quote, without merit, and Gearbox saying, quote, "Attempting to wring a class action lawsuit out of a demonstration is beyond meritless. We continue to support the game and will defend the rights of entertainers to share their works in progress without fear of frivolous litigation." Now, in this regard, Gearbox and I have to agree that Gearbox is a pile of douche nozzles, because actually making a pre-rendered movie and claiming that it is a work in progress is not actually showing a work in progress of a video game, but lying outright to the customers. So, while suing publishers and developers for pre-release press may turn out to set a bad precedent, it'll also probably be a good thing for the industry and, more importantly, the consumers, in the long run.
This week in nerd TV news, J.J. Abrams' production company, Bad Robot, is reportedly trying to buy the rights to Stephen King's time travel book 11/22/63, with the intent of making a series or mini-series out of it. The book deals with an English teacher who travels back in time to prevent the assassination of JFK. Call me crazy, but I don't really see how this could be a real full-length series without being the new Quantum Leap, or worse, the new Lost.
Speaking of projects that shouldn't work as a regular series, MTV has announced that they're readying a pilot for a TV series adaptation of the Scream horror movie franchise. The film series, as you may remember, is about a bunch of pretty young teens and co-eds hanging out talking about how real life is, different from horror movies, until one or two bad eggs adopt the mantle of Ghostface. Again. And those guys would set out to slaughter everyone who wasn't Neve Campbell, David Arquette, or Courtney Cox for some reason. Now, MTV is obviously considering the success of their Teen Wolf adaptation as the basis for doing this, but if I may remind you, one is a comedy about how werewolf Michael J. Fox can dunk really well, while the other is an occasionally snarky horror film about how a masked psychopath butchers people. Short of this being a more ridiculous Dexter, if that's even possible at this point, I just don't know how you're going to adapt that material to the small screen.
That's all for this week.
Make sure to hit subscribe to get all of the latest episodes.
You can check out all of our shows, including our weekly podcast, at jasonsquared.com.
You can also like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/JasonSquaredShow.
You can follow me on Twitter at Jason A. Guerra.
You can follow my individual Twitter at JasonH2.
And you can follow both of us at Jason2Show, also on Twitter.
And if you insist on using crappy old email, you can reach us at JasonSquaredShow@gmail.com.